Hello everybody, welcome back to Rain World, Archaeologist Edition. Last time, we read a whole bunch of colored pearls and got some lore. And this time, more of that. We've still got 3 colored pearls that we've technically collected, but that are back in Shaded Citadel due to some unfortunate circumstances. Of, the passage not working for some reason. I don't know, maybe I just misunderstood it. So we're gonna get those, read them, and kind of like last time when I was going to get the one, in the meantime I'm going to talk a little bit about some more thoughts I've had between the last episode and now. And then also, for a last little lore thing, I'm gonna do some stuff on my monk playthrough first, looking at some stuff, seeing if there's, differences there, looking at that. And that'll definitely take up this episode, if not longer, depending on how much of a reaction I guess I have. I mean, most of it's just gonna be reading the lore and reacting to it. But then after that, it's time to go around and gather the other miscellaneous pearls. But yeah, let's get started on this one. So, I'm still... It's still the same day as my last recording episode recording. And I'm still losing my mind over the new pearl. Just in general, it was very cool, and still the fact that it's like, yes, looks to the moon, have opinions on things, be mean. This is exactly what I wanted. More character stuff for them specifically. So yeah, I'm having a great time. We'll see if the one other new pearl is as good as that one. But so I don't have a lot of new thoughts on the new pearl, except just kind of like the discussion of like, hey, don't upset Five Pebbles specifically by like the spiritual discourses that some of the ancients are apparently having with him. But they're like, yeah, we know he doesn't like it, and we don't like it either. Can we stop doing that? I want to know, what are the specific spiritual discourse? What are you specifically trying to talk to Five Pebbles about that he doesn't like? That's very important information for me, looking at like character stuff. Yeah. And then this is less on a specific content level, but more on a, like, other stuff kind of what I've said already for some things, but, like, I know I was saying last time about wanting to know more about specifically, like, Five Pebbles and Looks to the Moon, in terms of how they interacted in the past. Go through the tunnel. Don't drown. But also just, like, despite Looks to the Moon being the main one you're talking to in terms of the lore pearls and content, I want more information about them specifically. I want to see more stuff about other people talking about them. It's like something I had thought about before and never quite gotten around to mentioning was just the fact that it's funny that so far, if I was playing this game by myself without, like, being online and, like, asking people, or I guess if I had decided to look it up, like, no one has... There's still only been one time where somebody's referred to Looks to the Moon. Like, I still wouldn't know what their pronouns were. They're talked about so little so far. So yeah, ideally, if some of the other pearls could address that, that's on my wish list. Yeah. I'm hoping maybe because there's like the geography of them seems to be at least somewhat important. I'm really hoping that the pink pearl in this area, the shoreline, looks to the moon related. That would be nice. Or if some of the random other ones, wherever they are, want to do that, I will also take that. Yeah. And I mean, as for the gold pearl, there's not anything hugely significant to that one, I guess. It kind of is an interesting looks at the main characterization thing that they're sitting there talking about, like, oh yeah, there were all these reactions to, like, what happened with Sliver of Straw, factually, and, like, trying to figure out what happened, and what's the solution? Was there a solution? Blah, 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 and, like, that's just them giving context for what the Pearl essay is about, which is, in fact, none of that, and just being like, hey, maybe we can just leave them alone? I mean, that's definitely some characterization there that I think is neat. And also, like, the mention specifically of, like, the concept of, like, the triple affirmative of solving the problem and, like, all of those conditions. Kind of making me think along the lines of when I was questioning about, okay, so Five Pebbles kind of found a solution but didn't fully because of the, like, oh, I can be only being able to do something for little slug cats. Like, I'm guessing that's the kind of where it's like, okay, he found something that qualifies for some of the affirmatives, like the fact that it's like, yeah, I found something, but I don't understand what the second condition of, like, oh, is it portable? But the third condition of, like, oh, is it, like, the concept of it being generally applicable? If it only works on slug cats, then yeah, I can see why it wouldn't fall under that for sure. As a qualification, so I don't know. Another little thing to think about. And it's sort of related to that, but also just kind of thinking about some of these things. Oh, you're a big bitch. Don't touch me. That's right. Go away. Yikes. Just like, what is just the general, wondering generally about, like, what's the timeline of all of the iterator drama amongst themselves? Like, because it does seem to be that the ancients did in fact at some point get to the part where they're like, yep, all of us have ascended. Or at least disappeared from, you know, where they're interacting with whether they're no longer interacting with the iterators. So, like, what point in the timeline did that happen? Like, did the whole Sliver of Straw incident happen while there were still ancients around, or was that afterwards? I don't know. Maybe we'll get a little bit more confirmation about that. I mean, I was also thinking about the fact that, like, still on the, like, okay, what are the echoes? Did it turn out to be that there were some ancients that couldn't ascend and got stuck? Or are they something else? Because I'm also thinking about it, and the names that the echoes have are definitely a lot more reminiscent of the examples of, well, the one example, I guess, of a name for an ancient. I don't think I've encountered anyone else other than the one that was mentioned in this lizard. Bad. Oh, fuck. Never mind! I win! Superior creature! What was I saying? Oh yeah. The names of the echoes look a lot more like the one confirmed name that I know of for an ancient from the Pearl from here than they do any of the iterator names I've seen. Hi, Scavenger! Please don't kill me. So yeah, I think I'm still definitely on the... The echoes are more likely to be connected to the ancients than they are to iterators. Could still be a third thing. Hi! Excuse me. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Oh yeah. Also along that line of the echo thing, I missed this one in my notes because it's a bit further down. I didn't super organize my thoughts, but also the bit where the one echo that I've run into talks about like me now becoming like I don't remember the exact wording, but like closer to them, the echo, which is, I mean, some of it might be closer to them because of the, you know, mark of communication translation stuff, but also Five Pebbles' thing is what gives the slug cats the ability to do their own, like, sort of transcending stuff. So, if that's what the closer to us means, like, oh, the Mark 5 Pebbles gave us also made me closer to the ability to transcend. You know who else can transcend? The ancients. So, I guess that could be a thing in terms of the ancients are like... Huh. Yeah, the echo. That's pretty much all I had in terms of notes, so unless I think of something else while I'm playing, I'm just gonna go back and forth and get all of these. And then when I'm done with that, we're gonna just read all 3 colored pearls in one go. So yeah, see you in a bit. Alright, so I've got 2 of the pearls all the way here, and one of them it's just on the entrance to Shoreline, so I'm gonna read the 2 that I've already done, and then go. Oh, little creature, hello. Hi, looks to the moon. The production record of a mask factory for what seems to be its last time in service. Have you seen a bone mask? Likely not, they're all gone with their owners. In ancient times, the masks were actually about showing spiritual persuasion, covering the face as a way to symbolically abate the self. Then, of course, that was quite subverted as excessively ornate and lavish masks became an expression of identity. Some public persons did have problems with narrow doorways. Okay, so this was a thing for the ancients. Which I do kind of wonder if... Originally, monks in a temple would make the masks using bone plaster, When the production was automated, it would generally remain on the same site, so that the old stones could radiate the material with holiness, I suppose. This is from one such facility called Side House, which was here on Pebbles' grounds. In the Iterator projects, many old industrial religious sites like these were remodeled and incorporated. I think this one was made to provide pellets of holy ashed at Pebbles, but knowing him, he probably hasn't used much of it. Huh. I mean, I'm not getting much new stuff out of that one, just the whole, like... I think I talked before about the idea of, like, are the bone masks also the things that we see at some of the scavenger sites? And just the fact of, like, okay, I don't know what the holy ash means, but the whole... knowing 5 pebbles, he probably hasn't used any of it. Very funny. Don't know what it means, but it's still funny that it's like, I'm gonna rag on him. Hello. A gift for me, little friend? And yet another one. I will read it to you. This information is illegal. Someone probably decided to send it by a pearl somehow rather than risk it being overheard on broadcast. Oh! This is the How to Die one! I forgot about this pearl! Ooh! Where did I find this one? This one's a Chimney Canopy one. Don't like how close that is to 5 pebbles. I think the risk of you acting on this is very slim, so I'll go ahead and explain it to you. It's an instruction on how to circumvent the self-destruction taboo. Right. Anyway, me thinking about the whole risk of acting on it is very slim. It's like, my brain's still sitting here like... what if I just gave that one to 5 pebbles? Would that be fucked up or what? I don't think it would do anything, but like, I'm still kind of tempted. The problem with breaking taboos is that the barriers are encoded into every cell of our organic parts, and there are other taboos strictly regulating our ability to rewrite our own genome. Yeah, they got organic parts. Which is wild, and also, yeah, I mean, there's taboos for them. Which I guess makes sense, especially if you're gonna make make the iterators be like, anyway, we're completely dependent on them. Ooh, that would make, like... yeah, obviously you want them to have some kind of safeguards in place in terms of what they can do. I mean, that's kind of like a thing with robots and media in general. Although I guess self-destruction is a bit different. So what you need is to somehow create a small sample of living organic matter which can procreate and act upon the rest of your organic matter to rewrite its genome. The rewrite has to be very specific, overriding the specific taboo you want to circumvent, but do nothing else. Ooh, is that what the, like, the rot or, like, the weird cell... because I always thought they looked like kind of, like, funky cell things, like an unhealthy, kind of, like, cancerous growth. Is that 5 pebbles doing some fucked up shit with his own organic matter? Or possibly someone else is, like, trying to do that? Is that where that's coming from? Possibility. The method described here is about scrambling the genome of standard plastic neural tissue with temperature fluctuations. After each scramble, you browse the resulting cells for the genome you're after. This is, of course, extremely time-consuming, unless you run a big number of parallel processes. Okay, so... not really a big thing, although this is, like, technical stuff that I don't actually need to have. I don't know. It could be important for later. So it seems more like flavory stuff. I definitely don't have any experience with this, but to me, it would seem that too many parallel processes would be quite dangerous, as it would be exponentially more difficult to manage and control them all. The whole operation seems rather risky if you ask me. And once again, I'm sitting here like, would me giving this to 5 pebbles not matter anyway, because he kind of already, knows how to do at least some of this, even if not the specific one. Questions. It might be a good thing that this pearl never reached its destination. Still sitting here like, is the destination 5 pebbles? I don't know. I don't know. Well, I don't think I have anything new on that one, because it's kind of just like, yeah. I mean, some weird religious stuff with the one thing. Hi. Show me pictures. Yes, more neurons. More neurons for looks to the moon. I wonder if the picture of, like, of Looks to the Moon with the iterator, is that, like, implying that Looks to the Moon could do something if I fix them enough? You know, help them enough? Doubt it, but that would be funny. But yeah. I don't necessarily have anything... I don't think I have anything further other than those kind of reactions. Those seem like a little bit more basic ones. But yeah. I'll be back. Then I'll just be back with when I get the new one. Okay. Last pearl. Last colored pearl that I've got my hands on. Hello, little friend. How have you been? Well, I almost got eaten by a big sea monster like 3 times trying to bring this over to you. That was stressful. Hi. Oh, of course I'll take a look. You're getting quite good at this, you know. A little archaeologist beast. Now, let's see what it says. You see that there? That's what I'm fucking talking about. Archaeologist. Yeah. Its entire memory is filled with a mantra repeated 5,061 times, and then a termination verse. It was worn as an amulet, probably together with many identical others, forming a pattern on some garment. Oh, the pearl? Oh, the pearl has the same mantra repeated. And then a termination verse. What is an amulet? Probably with... The repeating mantra is important because it symbolizes the cyclical nature of life and death, and the termination verse is a symbol for ascension above and beyond it. I don't know how familiar you are with the nature of life and death, but I imagine, like all living creatures, you have some intuitive knowledge. Looks to the moon, I've died plenty of times. I've died, yeah, ooh, symbol for ascension above. Okay. That's interesting. So it's symbolic of the whole endless repeating cycle. What's the exact phrase in 5 pebbles used? Yeah, the cycle, the repeating pattern. That causes, like, the claustrophobia or whatever he says about it, yeah. Okay. Then you know that death isn't the end. Birth and death are connected to each other like a ring, or some say a spiral. Some say a spiral that in turn forms a ring. Some random and agonizing longevity. But the basis is agreed upon. Like sleep, like death, you wake up again. Whether you want to or not! Ooh! Yes! It's the soul cycles of everything. Yeah, the whole game mechanic of, like, yeah. You either repeat the same cycle because you died, or you sleep, and you wake up for another new cycle. Yeah, this is just how the game is working. Yeah, that's how this game works. This is true for all living things, but some actually break the cycle. That doesn't apply to you or me, though. You are too entangled in your animal struggles, and for me, not breaking that cycle is an integral part of the design. Our mantras keep repeating. Okay, so yeah, because ooh, not breaking is an integral part of our design. You could say it's one of your taboos, perhaps? Ooh! Ooh! Is that, like... Is that a thing? Is that part of why Five Pebbles has the... Is that one of the things he's doing, trying to... That would be fast. It's like, yeah, I'm trying to break the taboo of, like, finding a way out by doing the crazy stuff, and that's what's... Ooh. I mean, there has to be at least one iterator that's tried that. I mean, I don't know why I didn't think of that before, because yeah, we're not designed to transcend, and the whole taboos of things they're not allowed to do. Of course I mean, this isn't really a new piece of information, but I'm putting the pieces together. I've connected the dots! Hopefully no one is sitting here watching it going, you didn't connect shit. Yeah. That's some shit you just said there, looks to the moon. I'll see you again later once I have more pearls. But yeah. Okay, so that one's... This is the light blue one, the very first one we got from the outskirts, so... I mean, it's not really new information, but I'm certainly processing things a little bit different now, so... I still gotta say, it's not as high on the tier as the, like, green one, obviously, but it's still a pretty good new pearl. Okay. So yeah, after this, you're just gonna, I'm gonna go back to my monk playthrough, and you're gonna see me, at the very least, see what Looks to the Moon's dialogues are for both the first encounter with them, which I know is slightly different, and if giving them a neuron causes anything different in their dialogue. Because I don't remember if I did that in my original monk playthrough, so we're gonna check that out. If that part's the same, I'll just leave it. And then also, I have, on my monk playthrough, there was a scavenger throwing a spear at an overseer incident, so I'm gonna take one of those parts to them in that playthrough, see if that does any... And, go over that dialogue, which I've already done, but, I can do it this time, without this time, having one myself and knowing that they're the same, because my previous Survivor playthrough was so I managed, there was a dead overseer of both the orange and blue variety. The blue one was my fault because I saw it and I said, 5 pebbles, bitch, and threw a spear at it. I wasn't technically intending on killing it, but it did end up dead because of me. The other one was either me accidentally, or it was a scavenger dead. But anyway, they're the same. So, but yeah, that'll be the rest of the episode. Is the other lore stuff, and then next episode, I'm gonna have to figure out what I want to do in terms of what pearls I'm gonna go for from here. Was the passage not working this time the glitch? I don't know. Stay tuned. Bye for the moment. Alright. Now, Looks to the Moon. Dialogue on Monk. Let's go. Hello, little creature. Your shape is familiar to me. I feel as if I might have met your kind before. Oh! Oh, because So something I've been thinking about since the last time I'd been playing, which I've thought about before, but I don't think I've ever really expressed, is the concept of, okay, there's a clear timeline of Survivor and Monk, and it's like, well, just being like, okay, obviously it makes sense as a gameplay reason why, like, there's not any huge thing of looks to the moon not necessarily being affected by Survivor and having existed on the Monk playthrough, and just being like, okay, we're just going to assume that that version of Survivor didn't give them any neurons, which is still accurate here. But the idea of, like, it would be both interesting and also, like, definitely difficult to program if somehow if you had a Survivor playthrough and then you did a Monk playthrough, if that would affect things. That would be very intriguing. I don't know, something about that line is just like, oh, that could be... It might still be the thing of okay, you've seen them before, but it's also... Could be a hint at Survivor having seen them? Maybe? Anyway. But my memory is so unreliable now. Yeah, which... It's interesting because it's like, once you give them enough neurons, they definitely seem to be like, oh yeah, at least that part of the memory is back, but... And at least in one of the two of the pearls, I think they also mentioned about, like, that part being foggy, but it's like... I do wonder if that's partially... I don't know. I see that someone has given you the gift of communication. Must have been 5 pebbles, as you don't look like you can travel very far. He's sick, you know, being corrupted from the inside by his own experiments. Maybe they all are by now, who knows? We weren't designed to transcend, and it drives us mad. Which, yeah, kind of similar thing of... yeah, being corrupted by his own experiments. He's doing some shit, and it's not going well. Oh. And yeah, we weren't designed to transcend. Yeah. It's so messed up that the ancients are like, anyway, we're gonna design... You're going to help the rest of the world learn how to transcend. That's your purpose. No, you can't do it yourself. We specifically designed you so you can't. So messed up. Especially, and I'll get into some of this more later, the whole thing about, like, the iterators being like, oh yeah, we're like parents to them. You know, at least the pro sounds of our friend to duties. Oh, it's so messed up. So good. Such a familiar feeling. Which I'm thinking that they're referring to, the familiar feeling is the stuff about, like, encountering me and not the whole we weren't designed to transcend and it drives us mad part, because, is that actually a hint at, like, something else going on looks to the moon, or did you... Is this not an outside interference thing with something that happened to you that drove you mad, that made you be in this state? That would be wild. Anyway, I'm back. I brought you a neuron. I am grateful. The relief is indescribable. I could read a bit of 5 pebbles in this neuron before formatting it. His condition has severely deteriorated since last I heard of him. The frustration he feels is profound, and that angst has seeped into every part of him, every neuron. Okay, so I think that's pretty much just the same. We were supposed to help everyone, you know. Everything. That was our purpose. A great gift to the lesser beings of the world. When facing our inability to do so, we all reacted differently, many with madness, okay? Some out there might still be trying. Communications have been bad for a long time, and by now I suspect most of us are isolated like me or connected only in small groups. But even back when we were all more or less connected, there are those who react to their task with anger. I can only imagine they are angrier now, alone in their cans, left only with their insatiable drive. But to be honest, I don't know how many of us are still alive at this point. Yeah. So, I mean, that's accurate. But that also leads me to something else I want to talk about. How much time do I have? Oh, I'm good. That I've been thinking about, because it's been a minute since I recorded the first part of this episode. Which is the whole... Okay. Sorry, I wasn't expecting that music there. Hold on. What am I doing? Oh, right. I know what I want to do. I need to get... I have an Overseer Eye that broke in this version of games that I left in Shaded Citadel. So, I'm gonna talk while I walk, as usual, and cut the gameplay whenever I get to the point that, point where I'm not talking anymore. But yeah, about the death stuff. Because clearly there's some iterators can die. That's been established. Mainly with the sliver of straw stuff, but also just some general stuff that Looks to the Moon has said, and also my understanding of the whole mechanic of, you can kill Looks to the Moon. Which I am still currently vehemently against, trying. Because it makes me sad. And as far as I've been informed, it doesn't change anything other than them being dead, so I'm, like, not a super strong motivator, but, like, I assume that if they die, they're dead, and they stay dead even after all the other cycles. But the last Pearl that I read, the one from not the exterior, the outskirts, Looks to the Moon talks about the whole concept of, oh yeah, life and death is a cycle, whether you like it or not. Like you wake up from sleep, inevitably, you also will wake up from death. Kind of being like, yeah, ascension is the only, like, that phrasing is like, yeah, you can't die your way out of this whole cycle issue. Which is obviously true for a little slug cat like me. Which, I mean, it's also because it's a game mechanic, but, like... The iterators... It seems to be, with the whole, oh yeah, the iterators can die. The iterators die, and they're dead. Like, dead. Like, it seems like there's a concept, like, there's regular death that happens in this. What are you guys doing? Those guys. Like, those guys are, there's a lot of dead guys in this area. I'm kind of scared. Scary music. Goodbye. How do I phrase this more coherently? There's the regular traditional death that we think about in this, that's, the, like me as a slugcat gameplay death, where you just die and then it's like, okay, time to repeat that cycle. Because you're stuck there, hee hee. Which seems to be implied to be the thing for, like, everybody. But then there's but then it's like, the iterators die like Sliver of Straw and presumably Looks to the Moon, and, depending on what you do. And it seems like they kind of just stay dead? Which defies the whole concept that they've been talking about with regard to the other stuff of dying isn't actually a way out. So, like, what, this feels like a contradiction, like, what's going on there? Because technically, I mean, it may not be the same as transcending, but, like, I would, like, the way I'm understanding the lore is, like, I feel like I have to agree with the iterators who are like, dying is the solution. Because it, at least from the information I have, it seems to be a solution, in a way, for them specifically, at least in the, because they're not coming back. I don't know. I'm just confused by the fact that there's, like, regular death that happens to little slug cats like me and everybody else in the cycles, whatever. But there also seems to be, like, the iterators seem to have a like, permadeath thing. I don't know, I guess, is there something, I don't understand what about that is different, other than the fact that it's obviously, okay, it's not the same thing as ascending, but it's still a thing of not being in the cycles. I don't know. It's hard to phrase this one because I'm still confused by it, but yeah. I just, currently don't have the right amount of information to figure out what's going on with those how those bits of information actually fit together. Very confusing. Need more lore. The concept of, like, crawling around inside the iterator stuff with nothing but just the ambiance is spooky by itself with 5 pebbles, just kind of being even in the normal sections. Something else, I was thinking about the concept of that, but, like, okay, you're crawling around, what if the DLC, could you imagine that, but it was a dead iterator? Whether, like, I mean, my one main thought was, like, okay, hold on a second, I need to figure out which den did I leave this in? There you are. Like, some kind of, like, DLC, what if one of the DLC things, 'cause I think there's some new area related stuff, is just the concept of, hello, oh, you're some cool looking scavengers, hi, be my friend, be my bestie. I'm going the wrong way, aren't I? Sure am. Like, whether or not you know it, like, okay, hey, DLC, cool! Oh, look, this looks like a new iterator area! Oh gosh, this place is quiet and spooky looking, and then you, like, get to where the actual iterator themselves is supposed to be, and you're like, oh no. Or even, like, if you knew beforehand, but you still have to go through that. Like, I feel like that would be... That seems like some wild and spooky cool stuff that would be... Like, it definitely makes it different than any of the other gameplay stuff. Yeah, it would just be... I think it would be wild and spooky if that was a, thing. Just be like, oh yeah, an actual fully dead iterator and just... I mean, technically you can experience that in the base game if you kill looks to the moon. But it's a little bit different. So then I have one more thing about specifically the pearl from the wall in terms of the new information, because oh boy, I've been thinking some more about some of the implications that one has. Mostly the concept of, oh, the whole parental responsibility line has been messing with me. 'Cause, like, oh, this is just, at least that, whole iterator lore section portion of the game is like, oh no, you all have parental issues then, huh? Cause it's, I mean, ooh, like I said before, the idea of the ancients creating the iterators to be like, oh yeah, we have this thing that we can do, and we want to gift it to, you know, the lesser beings of the world, the poor, unfortunate creatures that can't do what we do. So we're gonna make these other creatures to figure out the problem for us, because I guess we can't do it? I don't know. Whatever, ignoring that part, because that's just lore. Not just, just lore, I say on the lore playthrough, but yeah, being like, oh yeah, here's this thing that we can do. We want everybody else to be able to do it. Except for you! Our children, you know, the beings that we created to fix the like... It's like, fuck them kids. Quote the ancients, I guess. At least in terms of, you know, the iterators. Not their own children, I would guess. But like, wow. You know, that's just, like, okay, messed up. So yeah, I can see how that would maybe not be great for the iterators. Like, listen, like, as I said before, I feel like even if the ancients were fine, I like the fact that Looks to the Moon said some shit about them for themselves. But also, considering that kind of stuff, I'm like, yeah, you're fine, Looks to the Moon. 100% justifiable to be a little bit frustrated at them. And the shit they were up to. But also, I have questions about the concept of the parenthood stuff. Like, obviously that specific ancient was talking to another ancient who were, like, on, I guess, some committee, or however they phrased it. I'd have to look at that part again. I haven't actually looked at the Pearl in preparation for this, which maybe I should have, but something like that for 5 Pebbles. Which leads me to the question of, like, okay, what are the exact things on, like, this whole parents to the iterator? Is this, okay, all of the ancients, like, collectively feel themselves as having a parental duty to their iterator? To not their iterator, but all the iterators? Is it like, okay, we're all parents to all these little robots that we've made and then, you know, messed up? This is just like that, the God, I have created man, angels. You fucked up a perfectly good monkey is what you did. Look at it, it's got anxiety. Like, that's what this feels like to me. So yeah, is it like that? Or is it like, oh, it's only the ancients that, like, were on committees or whatever in terms of, like, maintaining, building, working on whatever the iterators? So it's like, okay, these specific ancients look at all the iterators and go, yeah, those are our collective children. Or is there, like, some kind of, like, oh, no, ancient... It's, like, is it iterator specific? Like, is it, like, okay... Is it more like, okay, we were... There's, like, these ancients worked on this iterator project, and these ancients worked on this iterator project, and there wasn't really, like... It wasn't necessarily an overlap... I mean, there was probably some of them that were working on overarching project stuff. But for the most part... You know, it's like, okay, you're on the Looks to the Moon project, you're on the 5 Pebbles project, you're on the 7 Red Suns project, blah, 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 you know, etc. to all the names. Or is it like, I mean, because they do say, obviously, they there is a phrasing in there of referring to Five Pebbles as our iterator. Which does lean me a little bit towards the like, okay, they had specific feelings, but is there also something in there of, is it our, or is it like, oh, this is our iterator and we're parents to that iterator because, like, we're on the project, but is it also, like, parental feelings towards them because they're just, like, in their air, like, they're in the most local the local iterator project. That's our child iterator. I don't know. And also, like, if it's a collective thing, so I had no, don't do that. Don't do that. You'll definitely fall bad. So I was also thinking at one point, when I was more pondering on it as, like, all of these seem like equally viable options, because I was just spitballing, I was like, so if it is/was a thing of the ancients, either all of the ancients all told, or at least all of the ancients that worked on projects, see, like, they're like, oh yeah, all of the iterators are ones that we're parental towards. Does that mean the iterators are siblings? But I'm kind of going against that, which is sad because my brain was like, oh shit, I was just thinking about them as, like, wow. Looking at their stuff as, like, look at all this weird coworker drama. And it's like, oh no, it's weird, it's coworker drama, but also they're all siblings. That's a wild interpretation, but no, that's not. I mean, that could still be a thing, but I'm kind of going away from it, both because of the phrasing of our iterator, and also afterwards I was like, remembering that there's a pearl that we haven't gotten to yet in this one that's like, looks to the moon, refers to Seven Red Suns as, like, a friend of Five Pebbles, and that would be a little bit of a weird way of phrasing it, especially for looks to the moon, who specifically is, like, at least somewhat more bought into the whole concept of, yeah, the ancients were our parents, so. I'm gonna strike out, I'm gonna strike out the siblings as a concept. For them. But who knows, we could learn more. Hi, looks to the moon. Oh, hello. I wonder what it is that you want. There's nothing here, not even my memories remain. Even the scavengers that come here from time to time leave with nothing, but I have told you that already, haven't I? Okay. I do enjoy the company, though. You're welcome to stay a while, quiet little thing. Okay, which I think is the same thing they've said before of, like, I think you need to give them a certain, I don't know, because they do seem to remember us sometimes. It's very confusing. And again, as I said before, like, what qualifies as what memories of theirs that they don't have anymore? Because other than remembering us and stuff, they seem to be largely cognizant. What is that? It is the remains of an overseer. Overseers act as our eyes on the outside. I used to have a lot of them, but I lost contact with them when I was neutered. My umbilical is cut. So since then, I am not much more than what you're looking at, a little creature in a box. Yeah, just the idea of like, they really don't have much else. Sorry, I'm pausing in the middle of the line, but like, they're just the robot body, basically, and whatever stuff they're connected to that keeps the robot body at least functioning. I suspect by now all my overseers are gone out there. Without me, they would just roam around with no purpose. Which is, it's so wild to me that, like, why is it a thing then? If Looks to the Moon is saying that that I have so consistently seen an overseer in this room with them. I mean, it's obviously behind them, but, like, they can physically, they can still turn around, like, as you saw the one time when I accidentally threw a pearl in the water, they're not complete, I mean, and obviously they can kind of move around you, too. They're not completely confined to that exact spot. I don't know if they could, like, I'm guessing the thing that, the whatever that they're connected to. I wonder if the thing that connects their robot body to the rest of the build, the thing that sticks out of their backs, is that the umbilical specifically? Like, is that what's cut? Or is that more of a metaphorical thing that they were saying? But yeah, the whole, like, it's weird that they say that, and then you specifically see one of their overseers in their room. Which is less of a lore thing, I think, than I don't think that's necessarily something to dissect in universe, because I think that's more of just a weird writing programming decision that they didn't necessarily think about. It might mean something. Like, they didn't notice that one and they can't perceive their overseers. I don't know. But also, like, the fact that they just roam around with no purpose. And yet, it's the ones that I've been assuming are looks to the moons. Which, as I've said many times, I don't actually have any basis on that. I'm just guessing, but it seems pretty likely that would be the plot twist of a lifetime if it was just like, anyway, boom, those overseers belong to... I mean, it would be wild if they belong to Five Pebbles, because I think I've discussed that before, that it's like, that doesn't make any... No, I have discussed that before, because that doesn't make any sense, because Five Pebbles is like, how the fuck do you slug cats keep getting into my house? Not my house, my me. How do you keep getting into my me? Which he would know if he had any control over the orange ones, because they're the ones kind of directing you. At least most of the way there. But... it would be the plot twist of a century if it's like, oh yeah, the orange ones are neither Looks to the Moon nor Five Pebbles, they're whatever third iterator that's been trying to help. Like, that would be wild. But I guess it's also kind of wild that it's like, okay, as far as Looks to the Moon knows, the overseers shouldn't be able to act on their own, and yet here they are, to quote Five Pebbles, circulating complex instructions. I guess not that complex, they're just projecting images and, like, pointing you in places, but still. How are they doing that then, if they don't seem like they should be able to do that? Like, that's, like, whatever explanation there is for that, if there ever is one directly in-game, no matter what it is, it's kind of wild. I think my controller just disconnected. Okay. I sat there talking for so long and said, oh, you're not playing anymore. The scavengers tend to hunt them. It's one of their very few ways of expressing defiance. It's of course not completely impossible that there are a few left. Say hello if you see one. I do say hi to the overseers. They're very cute. But... Of course, we know it's not impossible because we've run into many of them. Yeah, the scavengers hunting them. And it being their method of expressing... I know I've talked about that when I first read this, about being like, what does that mean? I still don't know! Like, what are they defying? Is it just, like... Just checking how much time I have. Just the whole being stuck in the cycle? The... Hi, Overseer! You shouldn't be able to act on your own, and yet you are! Yeah! Yeah! Where are you getting that from? Who do you work for? Who sent you? Tell me your secrets, or you'll end up like your friend here. That's right. But I still don't understand what the scavengers are defying. Ooh, food. Anyway. So, I have a little bit more for what I wanted to record for this one. Especially because I just wanted to talk about a couple more things in regard to the whole parents thing. But I'm gonna grab a couple of white pearls just to see if they're doing anything different. And I'm gonna talk about the last of my stuff in between that. Which is like, obviously we have the stuff about, you know, how the ancients saw themselves in comparison to the iterators, but like, what does that actually what did that actually look like? How did the ancients interact with the iterators? Like, both physically and the fact that, like, assuming that the echoes are the ancients, those are some big guys. And also, like, obviously some of this is okay, this is the size that it is because of the world, and the way you can navigate around is sized for the size of the slug cat. Obviously. It's kind of, I mean, and it's like, okay, some of this you really trying to think about that is like, okay, this is exactly how the world as everyone saw it is a little bit whatever. I don't know. Being like, okay, why is everything so small and slug cat sized? I mean, some of this might just be that the pipes and stuff were just small, and this is the like humans crawling through the air duct trope, where it would actually be unrealistic for that stuff to be ancient size. I don't know. But also some of it kind of feels like, okay, yeah. Like, the reason why Silksong is being made is because originally it was just supposed to be, oh yeah, you can play as Hornet and Hollow Knight. Oops. Oh, some parts of this game are just, because they're designed around ghost size, they're just not, Hornet just physically won't fit. And that's not necessarily, I don't feel like that's necessarily an indicator of how we should literally view the world, and it's just because it's designed around a specific... Where was I going with this? Oh yeah. So, like, the question of whether or not the ancients are I'm guessing the ancients, I don't know, are the ancients actually that big or not? Because it's also funny imagining, like, the scale of the echoes versus the scale of the iterators, and like, the iterators are like tiny little doll size to them and that's very funny, if you think about it in that context. But I mean more of, like, their interactions in terms of, like, the actual talking dynamic. Because looking at the way that the few ancients, stuff from ancients we've seen in, like, How Five Pebbles, I feel like that would be very funny. That would be, even without the whole, like, some of these guys are irritating Five Pebbles. It would be funny. And also just, like, the whole, feel like that would say a lot about what's going on with them. To look at how they actually, an actual example. Ah, little friend, you're here again. So yeah, they at least remember enough stuff to be like, oh yeah, you again. Ah, you'd like me to read this? Yes, please. It's a little bit dusty, but I will do my best. Hold on. It's a design for a machine that makes bolts. That's it. Oh yeah, because these are just the plain text ones that you can just kind of have. But I was just interested to see if there's anything. Oh, what is that little creature? Another pearl. You want me to read this one too? Just a moment. I thought I tossed that, but did they just catch it? This one has nothing on it. Cheap! Cheap pearls! I know that's the point, but still. I still gotta work on my thing that I was talking about when I very first played this game, where I figure out a way to, like, spawn stuff in, or, like, keep it from despawning, where I just, like, I'm just like, anyway, I've gathered every pearl from the game, and I'm just gonna pile them on Looks to the Moon. But yeah, so, in general, obviously, like, the whole concept of, like, how did the iterators all feel about the idea of being children? I think I know how Five Pebbles feels. I know how it looks at them and feels. Ooh. Yeah, sure, I'll do Sleepy Sleepy. No, I won't. Lies. But yeah, like, what's up with that part of it? Either when they were actually interacting with the ancients, or now. Because even Looks to the Moon, who I'm guessing is probably going to be out of any of the iterators that we actually are going to end up seeing as a sample, either in person or whatever later, is probably the most generous. And they had the whole skin parasites line, so I don't think they're super great about it. Hi, Looks to the Moon, I'm back. I don't remember if I showed you these before. I'm going to show you them now. Hello. Another gift. Oh! Yeah, because, see, they can at least do that while moving. Through the mist of memory, your image dances like the motes of dust in a ray of sunlight that pierces a dark room. A line of verse from the ancient farmer poet Pell, very dreary if you ask me. Oh, I don't remember which one's the original one. I don't think I switched hands. Another, you're no better than the scavengers. To be honest, I'm as curious to see it as you are. No, I don't want to talk about the content of this pearl. Yeah, I remember that from that's the most I think that's the most interesting blank pearl. White pearl. Because it's like, what don't you want to talk about, Looks to the Moon? What is it? What are your standards for, because, I mean, they've, Looks to the Moon is actually, like, for as much as they're, like, very nice and everything, they do express boundaries very firmly and very clearly a lot. Like this, and with the, like, I mean, if you grab one of their, neurons, they're like, if you do that again, I'm not talking to you. And I have accidentally done that and reset a cycle because of that, but it does seem like they actually will not talk to you again. I haven't actually tried saving and going to cycle because I'm afraid. But, like, I'm guessing as long as their memory does keep, that's what they're gonna do. And yeah, that's pretty much all I've got. But I have one more little thing that I'm gonna mention, which is the whole, like, the fact that it's like, okay, we're parents, we have a parental duty to these iterators. Like, obviously they're framing themselves in that, but, like, in the same boat, they're also entirely dependent on the iterators for all the stuff they need while they're still alive. And obviously, like, the dynamic of being like, you're our child, but also you're the one who's making sure we stay alive and taking care of us is, like, it's a very specific dynamic that it also can lead to some messed up stuff. Especially in combination with other stuff. So yeah! I've been thinking a lot about that part of it specifically. So, let's see, what picture am I getting? Okay, that one. Typical. Not typical, but I've seen that one before, so it's not too exciting. But yeah. So, this is probably where I'm gonna call it for this episode. Lorefest Part 2. And next time, I'm still trying to decide exactly where I want to go, but it's probably gonna be a grabbing more pearls and trying to do some echoes as well. Just because, that would also be good for some lore. So yeah. See y'all next time. Bye.